So I would like to begin a discussion. Who's here? Who's around? I want to begin a discussion about the card Orcish Bowmasters. Now, my question, the central thrust of my inquiry is not about whether or not Orcish Bowmasters should be banned. At least not in the first instance. My question is about the design of the card and whether or not it is functioning as intended. So, I believe that it was designed I believe the card was designed to Neal sticks the landing. I believe the card... Well, okay, hold on. I think it was designed as a way to punish, like, draw steps on one turn. Because the card in and of itself isn't very innately powerful. It is a 1/1 that comes with another 1/1. But the true power of that battle station only becomes evidence once you sort of realize exactly what is going on. Hang on. I don't think I have any. Let's look. Okay. Orcish Bowmasters. Oh god, no, I don't want to craft any of this horrible card. Why would I? Absolutely fucking not. Okay. So, I think that I'm trying to put my Wizards of the Coast R&D Magic the Gathering hat on. And on the numbers, it is a 2-mana 1/1 flash with an ability. Okay. Sure. That's a strong rare. And there are approximately 100 ways to make this card, I think, achieve its goals without making it broken. But instead, they made it broken. Okay, so first off, there's the amass mechanic, which really is a kind of throwaway mechanic. I don't think it is innately very powerful, right? Amass, Orc 1, put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. If it's also an Orc, and you don't control an army, create a 0 black Orc. Okay, so essentially, on the numbers, just in the realm of theory and blue sky thinking, it is a 1/1 that summons a 1/1. Okay? When it summons the 1/1, then you get a chance to do 1 damage to any target. Okay, this is where it becomes actually factually, like, this is the first instance that we have a problem. Okay? So, on the face of it, it is a 2-for-1. Literally, you pay 2 mana and you get 2 things. You get an army and you get the Bowmasters. That, in and of itself, already probably pretty good. Now, one could make the argument that such an effect could cost 3 mana. Would my attitude toward the card be different if it cost 3 mana? Well, probably. Okay. So that because you can do 1 damage to any target, it suddenly becomes a 3 for 1. You can bolt your opponent's bird for 2 mana, and you're left with a 1/1 and a 1/1 that can grow and has a repeatable effect. Now we're starting to think that this is closer to a 2 colorless black spell. Like, that is way far ahead of the curve. But it's also a 3 for 1. Okay. So we might be having a question. We might be thinking to ourselves, is that intended? Was that the spirit of the card initially? Is that what people really, was that what was intended in the design of the card, that it could be a 3 for 1? Now, there might be ways that we could potentially change this to start making it a little bit more fair. If the damage could only go to your opponent's face, that is a change I think might make sense. Right? Okay. Except that now I'm going to present a scenario where it's actually a 4 for 1. Okay? Because when you bring this card into play, and even if you're doing the most fair possible iteration of this card, and then you play a 3 mana card, for example, like Echo of the Eons, I think is what people are doing in Legacy, or Wheel of Fortune, any card where you force your opponent to draw 7 cards, or draw any number of cards. Ancestral Recall, your opponent, draw 3 cards. Well, suddenly, not only have I done 3 damage, so I'm essentially lightning bolting you for free, I have also grown my army somewhere between 3 and 7 times. And so now you have a 2 mana 5/5 or 2 mana 7/7, and you've done half of your opponent's life, and it costs you 2 mana, or a total of 5 mana, I guess, if you want. But like, suddenly it's now a 5 for 1. You have an unbeatable, unblockable, or you have a massive threat that costs you no mana. You have a renewable source of damage, and you're punishing your opponent's draw step in a way that they can't control. Right? So all of the wheel effects, like making your opponent draw several cards, like the person playing against Bowmasters can't control that effect. Now, you could say you could counter spells. So sure, Legacy has effective counter spells. I don't even know if the Legacy and Vintage counter spells, Enforce a Will and the various other tools, are available. But this card being on Arena, where there isn't effective 0 mana counter magic, where there isn't effective 2 mana board sweeps. Now, I'm rather selfishly arguing for Pyroplasm because it would fit straight into the Limp Bizkit deck. If you don't know what Limp Bizkit is, then check out the stream. Stream on twitch.tv whereisneal. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then I also actually stream on YouTube, but feel free to check me out at both of those locations. But yeah, so my question then would be, circling back around, do we need to ban this card? I don't know. Like, that's not for me to say. Was it intended to be a 5 for 1? I don't believe so. I don't believe it was intended as a 5 for 1. And as a 5 for 1, I think there's a reason why it's played in every deck. So again, that might meet the Wizard's threshold for diversity, or for format warping. At a very minimum, I think this card should be addressed via the alchemy tools, in that, like, MTG Arena has ways of correcting cards that they've printed. if you want a 5-for-1, I think it should at least cost 3 mana. My complaints would be slightly different if it didn't target any... if you couldn't direct the damage from Orcish Bowmasters to any target. Those are some of my thoughts about Orcish Bowmasters. Yeah, if you enjoyed this content on YouTube, then consider subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting. And yeah, tune in next time. We play Magic. We do a variety of streams. We play a lot of action RPGs, streaming on YouTube and Twitch. And come drop in and say hello. Everybody's favorite Bowmaster. Okay. This is a perfect example of what I mean. If that had gone to my dome, suddenly we're talking about a slightly more fair card. Because that could kill my 1-drop, now we're in the 3-for-1 territory. Notoriously challenging to play against 3-for-1s.